To win a series and DK loses a series, it's a very clear-cut way to avoid the Rise group, or they need to be a point ahead and then win a tiebreaker, as in like finish this week a point ahead, or they just straight out they're just a point ahead even afterwards. So there is some possibilities here. A 2-0 for KT here today.
Yeah.
The likely outcome, if we then have a 2-1 for DK in tomorrow's matches, then it's a tiebreaker. However, if both of them lose, there is another tiebreaker opportunity.
That's the thing. If KT don't get a 2-0, then D+ has to lose. And,
yep.
you know, they have to lose. There's no possibility of a tiebreaker, so...
But if KT 2-0s here, and then DK lose, it's fine. You know, it's like just winning. Let's just focus on KT needing to win.
Just win.
I think that is
it's
the main
simple.
thing.
Just win. Just
win. And things become out of their hands.
It's that
They
straightforward.
don't do that.
Yeah.
But there's no way that KT can like win here and then avoid any sort of issues, right? It's not like the Nongshim situation where we saw they locked Legend Group with that victory over T1. KT can't do that. Their life isn't in their hands. They just need to make it as difficult as possible for DK.
Yeah. Do you see KT blocking that early Gwen? Rumble, Jace already taken up the cards, so his pick in a really good position. Interesting that DRX banning those out and setting up this Gwen pick to be in a great position. Then opting for the Azir with Talia open. So Trundle locked up, sure, but KT can just take the Talia for BDD. He's going to feel really comfortable about that.
Yeah, that is a really odd decision. Pantheon is banned, so it's not Talia Pantheon, so I guess there's that. But it's Talia Wukong, right? They can still do that.
Yeah, presumably. I think that makes the most sense. Probably don't want to play Talia Xin Zhao into Trundle. The Xin Zhao just struggles a bit there, but I think the Wukong's completely fine.
This is
very
odd.
comfortable on that pick. Yeah, not the decision. I just think we've seen Azir struggle so much into the Talia. We've seen really this be the matchup favored into towards the Talia so often.
We've
Actually
also
opting
seen
to look towards maybe the Xin Zhao though.
And that's not a great matchup into the Trundle, like you mentioned before. We've seen Azir's just struggle in general here in the LCK, but especially into the Talia. So the Xin will still be locked in.
I was feeling confident on it. Well, you do have the double circles with the Gwen.
Yep.
A lot of power there. And I think KT still pretty happy with how things have panned out. Now for DRX, what is that plan to go up against the Gwen for a top lane option?
I think this is so hard because you can't really pick Sion. You imagine that Rich probably wants to play the Sion, but not going to be happening this time around as there is a blast from the past. It's a prehistoric pick in the Gnar.
Yeah, feeling a little underwhelmed so far by what DRX have locked in. We'll see what they can do with the rest of the draft though. Coming into the next phase, they do have a bit of an advantage with being on red side here, being able to have first choice when they come to the next stage. And again, no AD carries banned yet. Still have that Kalista open, still have like the Varus open. Alistar's still open and available as well. See what they opt for here. I think honestly KT might end up just banning away the Alistar, maybe even the Senna as well. Two things I think DRX can get a lot of value from.
Well, we'll just have to see. As first the Rakan, and then we've got some bans to come through on KT's side. I'm seeing that score is looking a little bit perturbed, you know? Feel like there's some stress there, understanding that there is so much on these players' shoulders right now, and then it is all out of their hands as they wait to see the outcome between DK and Nongshim in tomorrow's match. Nongshim just coming off that 2-0 over T1 does make KT fans feel a little bit better, but maybe it doesn't because KT fans don't often feel better. And we all know the most depressing outcome for this week's games is if KT look amazing today. 2-0, clean, gorgeous, and then none of it matters because DK just 2-0s tomorrow. That is the most KT outcome, right? So I think KT fans, you can feel free to get enthusiastic, right, about today's match because it may not matter at all. Senna and the Alistar both going to be taken away here on the blue side, as Rakan and Kalista are going to be the follow-up bans here as the Jhin, a consideration for Doctarm. just going to be standing aside to allow the rest of his team to carry a little bit in some of these fights. Certainly works out when you've got a Talia and a Gwen.
Yep, I think it's a good pickup. And then in terms of support options, maybe like the Rel makes the most sense. Actually looking potentially towards Leona. They end up locking that up. Fair enough.
Picking Leona into the Trundle is odd.
Yeah. I guess maybe they're a little concerned about like... You know, I'm not really sure.
Yeah, I don't know. And like we know Score is like, he played in the Trundle jungle meta. Like he knows exactly what's going on. So it's, look, I find it weird. They just kind of ignored Sponge.
They just don't care. They just we want to engage. You know, we have the lockdown. We'll just kill them anyway. And I think overall, you know, KT, I think the first three pretty strong. I think, you know, they denied the Alistar, they denied the Senna, which I think could have given them some problems. They have the Jhin Leona, which is a lot of setup for the rest of the team. I think they have a pretty solid draft with what they came through here. And I'm a little bit concerned for DRX in this game. I think there's a lot more tools on the side of KT. And I'm kind of looking for Sponge to have a strong early start with this Trundle. See if we can get some value, maybe some early ganks. But it's, yeah, not the most convincing draft I've seen in a game one. They are on red side, which doesn't exactly help things out. But I'm just a little bit concerned the Azir, doesn't inspire joy.
Look at Sponge just being so buff as the SpongeBob. That's one of my favorite memes. Like the amount of like creativity with these fan signs, the interactive fan signs as well. It's like a pop-up book now. It just instantly, as soon as a book goes from a regular book to a pop-up book, it's just automatically way better.
Yeah.
And that's what we've got in fan signs now.
You read a lot of pop-up books?
When I was a kid, not really. I looked at them.
But you read a lot now?
Yeah, heck yeah.
Oh yeah.
All the time. Every time there's a pop-up book. Let's get into the game.
미니언 생성까지 30초 남았습니다.
All right, here we are, ladies and gentlemen, onto the Rift for game number 1. KT fans, just remember that no matter what happens, none of this is in KT's control, right? Feel free to just lose your minds if you want. Curses don't even matter.
All right, Chronicler.
Even though they are real. They are real.
Okay.
However, the biggest curse would be if KT looks amazing today.
Yeah.
And then still can't make it into the Legend group. That's how it goes. Because it's really interesting, right? Because it is all based on how consistently you play throughout the season. And this year especially, with the fact that we don't have any of the score resets, it's even more important, right? To be as consistent as possible. And it's so funny that now KT are looking fine, but they just don't have the consistency. And it's in their tagline. They're searching for consistency. It's what they've been talking about all year long. Before this season even started, that's been their goal. And it might just be a lack of consistency that gets them into the Rise group instead of the Legend group.
Could be.
They are focusing on the right thing. However, they just haven't achieved their goal in time.
It just makes you think, though, that massive win streak they had, some of the teams they took down, how important that was to even have chances.
Yeah, true.
Have a chance now. Do you see Rich struggling a little bit? Perfect for level 2 advantage. Pressure bot lane as well. And that's the thing, you know, I feel like sometimes you have a game where like one side has, you know, lane matchup advantages and the other team you're like, well, yes, but the other team has like a scaling advantage or you feel favor in how the team fight's going to go. I don't think DRX has particular massive advantages in lane. And really, I think Sponge has to find some way to sort of shake things up, really, if things are going to go heavily in their favor. 6 loss streak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think we're starting to see why BDD didn't go for the first pick Azir and instead elected to look for the Talia side of it.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, that win rate is not looking fantastic. It was actually... last time I saw it was when BDD actually did pick the Azir and then lost, as we just saw on that graph. Bit of a 1-2 punch coming out from Dr. in trade here as Rich. Going aggressive, but as these trades continue, Gwen does feel a bit better, especially in melee range. Perfect playing okay for the moment, as we just see a bunch of CS just go missing. That was a bit weird.
Sponge just walk over a ward, so vision given over. Perfect knows not to step up and do anything crazy. Oh!
Okay, Cuz is moving in, looking for an angle here as LazyFeel immediately going to cleanse. Maybe a little bit early, but there's the flash forward from Doctor on the dancing grenade as Arndil is held in position. And even BDD is down here. He might even be able to grab himself the kill. As there it is, the threaded volley comes down, takes 2 turret shots for his trouble, but that is first blood to KT. Now Perfect, seeing whether he can survive. Great flash to get himself out of the way of Sponge. Still, there's a big minion wave though, and I don't know whether the Gwen is completely out of the woods. However, that bit of damage against Rich may have done it. So some survival for KT, but first blood for them on the other side of the map.
Yeah, really well played there by Perfect. And the rest of KT playing super aggressive around bot lane to force that play. BDD getting rewarded for the roam with that kill. And we see PDF forces really hard here. Doesn't get the CC onto Andal, flashes in a LazyFeel, gets the cleanse, puts the ignite in. Duckdom doesn't quite have the damage to kill. They just turn on Andal. And then even with the flash coming out, Andal can't get away. And that's kind of the point you know how dead Andal was there. BDD TPing in just to pick that one up. Of course, she took the tower hit, so loses a bit of health before going to lane. But he's happy to have picked up that kill. Speaking of which...
Maybe less happy now as he does have to use the flash. Peter now running out of Eclipse. Will be backing away. So Yehu going to be able to get a nice little shove in as BDD does go back home once more. Has a fair bit of money in his back pocket to spend. So he will be able to collect a little bit more before he does come back. Some shoes, perhaps.
Do you see both teams swapping towards that top side? A lot of discussion about this in recent weeks, about these swaps. At about 5 minutes, some teams opting to go for it, some teams opting again, some teams opting to prioritize Dragon instead. But both teams right now moving up towards the top side.
Yeah. It does look like Grubs are going to be a little bit of a focus here. You can imagine that DRX does want to play around side lanes quite a lot this game. The Gnar can certainly be a big menace.
Yeah, and Rich now has a pretty big farm lead over Perfect. You know, despite the fact that the gank didn't kill Perfect, he did obviously put him in an uncomfortable position. Wasn't able to pick up all of that farm when he was in the tower. And Rich burned his TP to get towards the bot lane and pick up some extra waves. So Perfect down about 10 CS as of now, about 500 gold.
Yep. And still, more pressure does come in. There is the Gnar. Off the back of the crush is gorgeous as Perfect. Getting a bunch of health back, but isn't going to be able to make that one work as Sponge tanks up the turret. One last shot would have done it, but it doesn't actually come through, and he gets out pretty comfortably. If at first you don't succeed, just come back and kill him.
Yeah, good gang coming out. Rich setting up really well, able to find Perfect. And Cuz is going to take this angle to pick up this Dragon, banking on the resets coming through on this timer. So, you know, Sponge was pretty low after tank the tower hits. He's actually on top of a control ward and just doesn't care. Just not even take the time to clear it, yeah.
Wow. That is confidence right there. You love to see it. But with mid control, you can understand exactly why he has that level of confidence. Let's have a look at this one more time as Rich just goes for the jump. And Perfect, not a lot of opportunity. The needlework was almost enough to get him enough health back, but just not
Yeah,
quite.
it was so close. If he had the level 6 a little bit sooner, or maybe survived a little bit longer, maybe could have killed Sponge, but just didn't quite come through soon enough. We do see the Dragon, though, picked up by KT, so Cuz taking a good opportunity to capitalize on the situation and pick up that objective. But this top lane matchup, you know, if you are picking Gnar into Gwen, you kind of need this to happen. So definitely a good start for DRX in that regard. Getting a bit of an advantage in that matchup.
Yep, Peter down a level, as we can see there. Endel did only just hit level 5, but KT to figure things out here. And he goes in. Deadly Flourish going to be the follow-up here onto LazyFeel, who takes a little bit of damage. Dancing Grenade not quite enough to get on top of the Varus, though, as BDD over the wall. And there are plays happening on both sides of the map right now. Seismic Shove goes wide, and in fact, everything does.
Yeah, a little bit of an ambitious one. Was hoping maybe to catch LazyFeel out before his flash came up and available. But it kind of just taps him under his turret.
Yeah.
And BD will go back to lane.
So with that one shoving in, he does need to get over there and pick up that money. No harm, no foul, though, of course. You do move relatively quickly as long as you are beside a wall. And so BDD gets over, does have a cannon there. Oh, misses it. How many cannons are being missed today? This is ridiculous.
That one hit, really.
Yeah, it really did. Although, I don't know, the one under the turret from Perfect just prior to that, that was also very hard to watch. All right, guys, get our eyes in. We need to make sure that there's not too many -1s. Like, the chat is only going to be -1s. We don't want that. We don't want a binary chat, you know? like, I guess they don't type zeros that often, so it is just the one side.
So every time a minion's taken, I guess a minion would be +1. Or would it be 0? Because if
I mean, I'm ignoring the minuses and the pluses as far as the binary thing is, because I don't think that there are pluses and minuses in binary.
So it's just, there's just no...
Unless you're doing binary math.
So we're getting a little bit into the weeds on this
I think we might be, and I don't know enough about it. As Lazyfield does take Dancing Grenade to the head, that doesn't feel that great. Thank you very much, chat, by the way, for the zeros. The zeros really do feel good. It's great to see that you've joined in on the bit. Otherwise, it just wouldn't have made any sense to anyone.
I mean, that's one of my favorite things, is when at some rare moments, you know when you have on the overlay, when you look at the gold between lanes, oh, I think we're going to fight here.
Perhaps.
Nope.
Oh, never mind.
Out. But you know
We're getting a walk away.
You have the gold between lanes, and obviously it's like red and blue to show which side has the advantage. Sometimes there'll be a rare moment, and it's like the eye of the storm, you know, when there's just like this still aspect, where there'll be like a 0, where both lanes are like dead even, and it always just catches my attention. I'm hoping now that it happens this game.
Fingers crossed. I don't know. I'm hoping for a lot of things. And the main thing is...
You're hoping for maximum chaos, I know you are.
No, I'm just hoping that someone gets a cannon minion on screen soon. That's what I want.
It's a simple request. I know Jonas Strong is also hoping for that.
I know, he's searching for it. He's like, oh no, this isn't even a cannon wave. What are we doing here? Captive audience is not going to find a teleporting target. As we've got teleports all over the map. It actually kind of looked weird, right? Oh, is Chain's Corruption? Hello? Okay. Never mind. Rich teleported to the top lane, but it looked like he was teleporting to the mid lane, but that was actually Yehu that was teleporting to the mid lane, but the trajectory of the teleporting Gnar was also flying straight over the mid lane out of turret. That was very interesting. Very cool. Pillar of Filth up here is, that is, I know, now Pillar of Frost, but this is the traditional Trundle skin, and so it is, once again, Pillar of Filth.
Thanks for tuning to the classics, you know? I feel like the Trundle skins, we've had the spooky Trundle skin recently, we had the Esports man Trundle skin. Haven't seen a traditional Trundle skin recently.
Yeah, I feel like it's like, Cuz definitely likes the cool new skin, the edgy one.
Yeah.
And it is pretty cool. Alright, there's a Seismic Shove. Sponge demonstrating how cool the Trundle is as he dies. Unfortunately, Subjugate not going to be helping him out there. And the Troll King will go down. So KT 1 kill away from locking down those feats of strength. As Yehu flashes right on the edge, but the slow's still going to catch him. Emperor's Divide does absolutely nothing. And there it is, your feats of warfare going over to KT. Going from strength to strength here in this early game.
Yeah, a lot of value coming out there. Able to catch Yehu on the back end as well. And now BDD going to be able to get some pressure mid. We also see Cuz, big recipient there, picking up the Sundered Sky. Sponge. Just kind of walking into this one. There's no real other way to spin this.
Yeah.
And does just run out of health.
Maybe that was the problem. He just thought he had more health to work with.
Yeah, and you know, that is a play you can go for. Not one that is generally recommended.
If you plan on being a tank, though, it's all about how much of your health bar you can utilize. Because otherwise, you're not doing your job very effectively,
You do generally want to keep above 0, though.
Yeah.
Which,
but I mean, he did use 100% of his health bar.
Yeah, he did.
In that play.
He did make use of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, it's Earth, Wind, and Fire today as well. Bit of a shout out there. We're ready to groove tonight.
Yep, we do have the boots coming in for KT. The boot upgrades feats of strength. Well, only for BDD. He was the only one actually with the boots completed so far.
They got the feats of strength too early.
Yeah.
Oh, I hate to see it. That's all right. Here's cannon. Here's cannon. Here's cannon. Oh, Lazy feels so got it. Look at this. Oh, that was amazing. +1s in the chat. Come on.
Good work.
There we go.
It's all coming up DRX.
That was beautiful to watch. In the meantime, there are no cannons up here towards the top side, saving Perfect from what could have been another difficult time there. Sponge and Cuz just doing battle. Seismic Shove is there, and maybe this matchup is fine for the Xin Zhao if there is always a Talia to back him up.
Yep. We just keep seeing BDD being first to move in these situations. The follow-up coming through, and Sponge is not having a good time.
All right, flash out of the way here from Perfect. It looked kind of cute, but in the end, Rich just gets a flash.
BDD's coming though. Rich is low in HP, no Mega Gnar.
Oh dear. Well, BDD is just going to walk in. Perfect could be in a little bit of trouble. He is dead. That is still the kill going over to BDD.
You know, someone in that dive had a bit more HP than someone else.
Are we going to talk about utilizing our health as a resource again?
Yeah, I think we are. I think also someone has a little bit longer range and can start hitting the
Someone
target.
was further away from the turret.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. I think perhaps could have been the one to tank first. But we'll talk about this play first. So Cuz jumps on a Sponge, and then Sponge gets flipped, and that's the end of him. But yeah, here, so I'm not sure if it was a miscommunication or if BDD, just the fact he kind of missed the E. I'm not sure who the mistake came down to. Well, whether it was Perfect going too soon, or it was BDD missing, or saying like, I've got it.
Or maybe KT just assumed that one of them was going to die anyway, and they felt like the 1-for-1 trade would be worth it regardless.
Yeah.
And so they're like, oh, let's not waste time, just kill him and shove the turret.
Yeah.
Maybe that's what it was.
They just said...
They're 3,000 gold ahead, so I guess maybe it's fine. As another Seismic Shove connects, and this is actually, it's so rude of BDD, to be perfectly honest, because we always talk about his Azir, but his Talia has always been phenomenal. As Peter tries to get over that wall, Seismic Shove, Solar Flare, everything in the kitchen sink, and Andel's dead.
That was slick. That was pretty nice from Peter there, following up with the CC on the back end with the ult.
And these Seismic Shoves are like, they're all landing, yes, but there's always a Solar Flare. There's a knock-up from a Xin Zhao. The setup for the Talia is absurd.
Yeah, and now BDD 4-0-2 on this pick. 2-0-2 for Cuz as well. These two super strong right now, taking over this game. It's a 3,000 gold lead already, and we emphasize the importance for KT.
Yep.
Not just of winning the series, but winning every game, and they are taking that very seriously.
They certainly are. If they even win with a 2-1, then they require DK to lose the series against Nongshim, which is entirely possible with how they played yesterday and the fact that Nongshim are coming off a victory against T1. So KT's chances not all over. Their fate is no longer in their hands based on that victory for Nongshim earlier on. Rich and Perfect facing off. Not going to find too much more. But yeah, it is. It's all coming up KT in this early game. And just remember, if you are a KT fan and you're thinking, oh, why are these commentators being so positive for KT? That is so biased against them. I'd just like to say that even if they win this, they look clean, everything's great, the most depressing timeline is still available, okay? So it's fine.
I don't think that's inspiring much joy.
No, it's not. That's the point. That's why we can be excited if we want to. As Perfect is going to trade some ultimates with Yehu here towards top side and gets the cannon. There we go. +1s.
You know what?
+1s.
That's character growth right there.
Oh, yeah. Got a decent trade. Got the cannon. That's the main thing. All right, no one actually going to hop in the Rift Herald this time around, as Doctarm also starting to do a fair bit of damage, and Lazyfield going to get tagged. In goes Cuz, and just obliterates him. Sponge trying to get himself out of the way, and now the curtains have been called. And the answer is, I'm leaving, I guess. Sponge going to be able to flash to get himself out of the way. Flash for ult, you'll take that as another Seismic Shove, of course, is going to land. Rich, what are we doing there? I'm not entirely sure, maybe going for a little bit of a flank angle here, but now there is nowhere safe on the map for DRX.
This just isn't even looking close at the moment. KT completely taking over the game, setting the pace. Gonna be looking to pick up that third dragon as well here. Second tower of the game will go down to Perfect.
Oh, clean 2-0, nothing to see here, right?
Oh,
right, what?
You're tempting fate, Max.
Oh, we just...
There's only so much you can be excused for.
I know, I really should stop. I did the experiment last time, you know, where I actually did just get excited for KT.
I'm not Chronicle, you don't need to run this experiment with me, okay?
It's my apologies, I'm gonna calm down. As this was just KT destroying DRX at every instance.
Yeah. It's looking like a bit of a roughy toughy.
A roughy toughy indeed.
Yeah.
Man, haven't heard that one in a hot minute. Good old roughy toughy. You hate it when you're having a roughy toughy. When was your last roughy toughy day?
My last Ruffy Tuffy day? Probably yesterday.
Yeah. Yesterday was a bit of a roughy toughy, actually.
Yeah.
Oh, you were desking as well.
Yeah.
You had to wear those sunglasses at the same time. Got a bit of a dive here onto Perfect, who flashes out of the way of the Gnar. The Needlework is doing so much, and the Deadly Flourish, not so much. As Sponge takes so much damage here from Doctorm, who's just going to try and stand his ground. And stand his ground he does. Cuz comes on over. What the hell is this Xin Zhao damage? He's got 2 items complete. Just eviscerates the Rel.
Yeah, he is shredding everyone on the enemy team. And Perfect is just kind of being, he's just a punching bag, honestly, at this point. He is there
to
make...
engage.
Yeah, he is there to make DRX feel better and to be a bit of a bait, and he's trying his hardest, you know, he's really trying to turn this around. Unfortunately, the rest of KT is there to pick up pieces. Doctorm will kill Sponge, and then Cuz just kinda does that.
And most of the time when you see a Xin Zhao come in and get the knock-up, you're like, oh, he's setting up for the AD carry. But no, he just does all the damage himself.
Well, he does have AD, and he is carrying, so I think he is setting up the AD carry.
Maybe that's what he is.
Yeah.
He is just the AD carry. The other guy is more of an AD mage.
Yeah, I would say so.
Or like reload. Person.
Honestly, it'd be kind of Giga Chad if Cuz went the Boots of Swiftness as well with the upgrade, just for the maximum AD. I'd love to see it. Doubt we'll get it. Would love to see it.
Yeah, definitely would be. That would be the optimal choice.
You know what, Perfect? You just stay in that brush. You don't need to leave it. You have a good old time there.
Yep. Or going further away. That also doesn't sound too bad.
Yeah.
Just throwing things around. There is a lot of friends for Rich on this bottom side, and KT are going to respond by just taking Arakan. Looks like this inner turret will go down. That is actually going to be a lot of money going over to DRX.
I mean, this is 100% the right call from DRX, and the fact that this is able to happen, a little bit criminal from KT.
Yeah.
Because it is actually a massive influx of gold for DRX.
Yeah.
And yeah, still get Arakan, but we've kind of seen that Arakan isn't that crazy valuable. I will say they have a lot of pedals.
That was very.
But even so, like, you know, when you're trading in a situation like this, when one team is so far ahead, it's really favorable for the team who are behind. So I think DRX doing a good move there to pick up a good amount of gold. That being said, the game is still in a pretty terrible position, so
yeah,
not out of the woods yet.
Yep, 4,000 is the approximate lead.
I do have
KT.
a little trick though.
What's that,
Max? So you take your hand,
all right,
put it on the screen.
Where
and
on the
cover? It's on the scoreboard at the bottom.
All right.
If you cover the bottom 4/5 of the scoreboard and
oh my god,
top lane.
Wow, that's a huge gold lead for DRX.
Yeah, 1.2k between Gwen and Gnar.
Oh my god.
Looks pretty good.
Oh no, I took my, I went
oh no,
down
leave
one.
your hand there. You gotta leave your hand there, yeah.
Oh, whoopsies.
Yeah.
That's my bad. But here we go. Looking at Rich on the screen right now, the man with that big gold advantage.
Well, actually, because of the Arakan, he's actually down in levels. No,
Oh no, but you can't see that on the bottom side of the screen.
That's
so we've also cropped out both of the sides and the top.
Yeah.
And we are just seeing the gameplay, the top of the heads of the players, and the top side of the map, as far as like the mini map is concerned, and that one layer of good news for DRX.
I feel good about that.
Yeah, DRX fans do as well. And Peter, he doesn't. He wants to try and get Perfect a bit of an advantage.
I will say, Peter did go Aftershock. We've seen a lot of Spellbook recently, but it's particularly into Trundle.
Yeah.
Like, Peter...
They really didn't care about
Ultim, get the resist. I want to see it.
Yep. Well, he doesn't really need to. A Seismic Shove just going to throw him away. Peter is still trying to walk it off, gets a big old shield, but he is still dead.
He doesn't need to do it, but it's cool to see when Trundle gets like 1,000,000 resists.
I know.
Leona gets like negative resists.
Well, KT are probably not going to be fighting for this dragon. Seismic.
Oh no, they are.
They certainly are. Deadly Flourish holds Andal in position. Andal was going for a flank. Little did he know, instead he was going to just die. And now the curtains have been called. Emperor's Divide just to try and get rid of Cuz, who is immortal, quite actually, ladies and gentlemen. Perfect going to get his revenge, as it's a triple, make it a quadra for BDD. He just needs one more, as Rich throws them against the wall. He really doesn't want BDD to pick this one up, as Doctorm's tanking the turret. They're chasing him down. They need to tag him. The Deadly Flourish needs to land. It's a Seismic Shove that connects, and BDD gets the penta. Well, sort of. It doesn't get announced, but we'll give it to him in spirit.
Oh, tragic. You know, because it's still kind of early in the game when the respawn comes through. Andal being very low level doesn't count as a penta. A little bit sad for BDD.
Yeah, Rich denies it by taking too long to die.
And Andal for spawning a little bit too quickly. So, you know,
yeah,
a little bit sad. I think BDD...
I'm going to give it to him. That's an honorary penta, you know? Is it all about the announcer, you know? Is that really what dictates whether or not it's a pentakill?
Yes.
I know. I was in the middle of saying that. I was like, hang on a second. Yes.
I think, yeah, because Andal died really early on. And again, he's level 8, so he respawns in like 26 seconds. So just a little bit too soon.
Yeah.
And also, yeah, Rich surviving so long.
Oh, penta?
We're going to see the reaction. He's calling for the penta.
Yep. And he just flashes on top of him.
펜타 줄 사람. 멈춰. 안 줘도 돼.
Can
안 돼.
anyone give me a penta, please?
W 몇 초?
Yeah, when's your W? Please, 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 land it, land it, land it. That was a nice shot. Didn't
안 돼.
a little bit too low. Oh, BDD.
Tragic.
Yep.
Really tragic.
Still, I believe, having a pretty good time. As now, how do we make it look good for DRX now, Orcs? Please.
Thinking.
Time travel? Time travel.
Oh, yeah, time travel.
Time travel might be it. As you might say, just time travel back to 2022. But this matchup wasn't even good then,
Yeah.
unfortunately. It was better when it was international. As Perfect just going to dash over the wall. Needlework comes out. Yehu, I don't know whether you're winning this one. It's a 2-item Gwen. Still gets back towards the Sundisk. He will at least live in this moment. As KT, they want to live in this moment as well. This is a good one.
That is the weakest member of KT against like the strongest member of DRX.
Yeah.
In terms of laners at least. So yeah, I mean that still goes in favor of KT. But I fear if it was a weaker member of DRX and a stronger member of KT, it's a little bit...
All right, Andal is just going to get closed in on by everyone. He tries to crash away, but the seismic shove is there. Still, the flash will do it. Gets him out of dodge. And Perfect just going to be playing on the other side. They've got 3 grubs at the same time, so this turret is not going to be long for the world. And he gets the cannon. +1's in chat. We are really turning things around when it comes to the cannon scenario.
A lot easier when you have more damage. And he will just massacre this turret. And now Rich, yeah, 2 levels down. And a lot of gold down. And now you can't even, you can't even do the map, the hack I had, this board cover.
Yeah, no, you can't.
No.
It's now looking just as bad as it was the other way around.
You know what? You talked about time travel.
Yeah.
I think everyone assumed traveling back in time, but there's an alternative.
Oh.
Traveling forwards in time to next game.
Oh, they can do that though. Yeah. You know what? I just want to remind everyone that we are all time travelers.
Yep.
We are traveling in time right now.
We are.
And DRX, they're doing it. They're moving one step closer to the next game with every passing second.
That's the thing is, you may think sometimes the DRX can play inconsistently, but they do travel in time consistently.
They do. In fact, that's something that we all do. Congratulations, everyone. We're all fantastic time travelers. All right, all jokes aside, DRX are in a really rough spot, and they do want to get towards game number 2.
If they could speed up their time travel, I am looking. It's 2.5 minutes till Elder Dragon. That is a way to speed up the time travel a little bit.
There we go. I thought we were all consistently traveling in time. No, speeding it up, that's a new thing.
That is a new thing, so a little Elder flip.
All right, Perfect trying to get some of his revenge here as Rich just runs away. BDD's 9-0-3, man.
Because when Titanic Hydra as well.
He is actually an 80 carry. My God, the damage is revolting.
Such a Giga Chad build.
Oh, I've seen that build in solo queue. Like, that's the one. It's like, how many items have AD and health? I must build them all.
You literally just jump on the animated carry, you press every single button on your keyboard, and they die, and you just walk away with your ult active, like...
feeling amazing.
No responsibility, like no response possible.
All right, Deadly Flourish not going to connect there onto Sponge, but Sponge, I don't think, going to get anywhere near this Baron, which is going down very, very quickly.
Oh, Yehu?
Okay, Yehu does find an angle here onto Doctarm, who does get stabbed. The Baron is probably going to go down as Peter's just trying to keep Yahoo out of that pit. Oh, doesn't quite get in there. BDD trying to kite them out as well as Sponge making his way in because the raid boss himself is going to try and protect his last remaining carry. That's BDD who flashes towards Sponge. Double kill, make it a triple here for Perfect. Is it his turn for a penta, ladies and gentlemen? Is LazyFeel flashing out of the way, but Perfect is just going to skip after him, run him with
Where's his penta?
Dangerous, and his penta is right here, going back to base.
Yeah, BDD is looking. I don't think VFX is as bothered.
Oh, he doesn't choose the right path. Oh no, the choose your own adventure book. That is not the path he wanted to go to.
Yeah, so some members of KT a little bit overconfident. Do end up getting punished here. Lockdown gets shuffled in, taken out. Peter 1v5 in this situation, but unfortunately Sponge can't get there in time to take down the Baron. And then it's a little bit of shenanigans.
Yeah.
You know, it's a good punish from DRX. They're still trying to make this game happen. They're still trying to, find opportunities, and it is a big influx of gold.
Oh my god, the Gwenning.
Yeah.
He did so much Gwenning.
This is kind of the problem, is that, even if you do have an advantage in lane against a Gwen, she eventually is a Gwen.
Yeah, and in fact, she's a Gwen the whole time. That's the worst part.
Just become more Gwen, though.
Yeah,
as the game.
The levels of Gwen do increase.
And you look at the build, this is a very, sharp scissors build.
God,
This is
I didn't even notice. When did the Lich Bane and Storm Surge come in? What?
It's pretty crazy.
That looks like he's just very angry. It's
This
like
is a
the
lot
revenge.
this is a lot of solo queue energy from
In the meantime, the Elder has been started. Let's have a look at what's going to happen here as Sponges gets slowed down, zoned out of the pit. That's going to go to KT. Emperor's Divide goes wide. And I didn't mean for that to rhyme, nor did the Leona mean to go down, but she did. It's going to be the trade, though, as now Yahoo could be in a little bit of trouble. Rich held in position. Seismic Shove throws him away as the big angry dragon that is BDD will take down his opposite number. Perfect also getting a little bit of dopamine after things were not going so well. And KT, I think, are going to look towards time traveling into game number 2 pretty quickly here with these Nexus turrets next to go down.
Yeah, well, it took a little bit longer to get this game finished. I think KT very confident in this game, though, in the outcome. DRX tried to...
In the end, Perfect had the biggest gold advantage, by the way.
I
will have you know, he Gwenned extraordinarily hard.
He absolutely did. BDD unfortunately denied his true penta, but